Hey guys, it's Classical Chess Games back with already our 5th video. We've done 3 videos in one day, and I'm ready for Are you guys ready for an amazing game? This game was played in 1970 and wait, let me go check. In 1970 in the event match USSR against the world match, where it was played in Belgrade, Yugoslavia. And the two people that are playing are Bent Larsen on the white end and Boris Spassky on the black end. Spassky playing for the USSR and Larsen playing for the rest of the world. Larsen is a very strong Danish Grandmaster, but in this game he was playing at the time current world champion, this game was played in 1970, Boris Spassky, and Spassky just goes all out this game. Even with such an odd opening that this is actually this is an opening made by Bent Larsen, but Spassky really shows that he can play even against the oddest or not the most common openings, and to many, including me, this is definitely his Immortal game. And it's interesting that this game finishes in only 17 moves, but that's just because how brilliant it is, especially with two strong Grandmasters. But here we are. Yeah. B3 by Bent Larsen and E5 by Boris Spassky. We have the Nimzovich-Larsen attack, the modern variation. You see, the Larsen attack is actually a very interesting opening. I played it a couple of times. It's not most common, but it's a fun opening. We have Bishop to B2 by Larsen and Knight to C6. And what's fun about the Larsen attack is you actually get to go C4. So already putting a pawn kind of in the center. It's nice C pawn expansion, a little on the queen side. And now the idea is you go knight c3 after you push this pawn, and maybe even d4 is an idea, or e3. Here we have knight f6 by Spassky, and knight to f3. Maybe a better move here. Spassky's just developing, and he has a nice pawn in the center. And if you notice, Larsen has a very nice bishop here. So, sorry, no, that was not played. No. You shouldn't be playing that. I'm just saying, it's a very nice bishop here, eyeing the G pawn. Yeah, eyeing the king side maybe. Here, Larsen plays knight to f3, which is the engine's favorite move, but maybe, to be honest, it does give Spassky a tactic. Maybe something like, e3. Or, yeah, no, it isn't liking it as much. Or knight c3 is better. Because after knight to f3, there's actually this tactic that Spassky finds, which is the best move. It's e4 tactic. Now, Larsen could go all the way back with the knight. He could go knight here, knight d4, or even knight to e5. But the idea is after knight d4, he's already developed this piece twice, and Spassky here just develops a bishop to c5. Now there's a double attack on this knight. And here, Larsen plays knight takes c6 with an attack on the queen, and of course you want to capture it. And now, of course, d takes. Usually, you would think, oh, capture towards the center, but it's much better to play d takes here. The idea is d takes keeps your pawn structure is a much nicer pawn structure. Look, if you were to play b takes, now there's this isolated pawn, and you have double pawns. And if you do have this open file, there's nothing really going on the queen side. So d takes is a better move, considering it now allows. Look, this queen is getting ready. And even Spassky made queenside castle. Here we have e3 by Larsen, a very common idea. e3, and if you know, since this pawn's on e4, really, e4, it's not allowing Larsen to push e4, and he can't go d4. If he goes d4, e captures is always an idea. So this is a very nice pawn. And here, bishop to f5 by Spassky, developing the bishop and guarding this pawn for a second time. Queen c2 by Larsen, putting some pressure. But maybe, let's check what the engine thinks. But maybe a better idea is not to, it doesn't love queen c2. Because now you haven't even developed this knight on c3, or this bishop, which is nice. Very common idea, bishop e2, or knight c3. Very common idea in the Lars. You have this bishop on e2, and it's very nice. So queen c2, I feel, is a bit early, especially because you never know, this pawn may be pushed, and the bishop would be eyeing the queen. But Larsen goes for queen d2. And all's well. We have queen to e7 by Spassky, maybe getting ready for attack, or just castling and then just developing, and after the castles connect rooks. Bishop to e2 by Larsen, and now a queenside castle. Maybe the engine saying something like a3 castling or knight c3 is a perfectly fine idea. I don't know, it's saying knight c3 on it. But we have f4 by Larsen, which the engine doesn't hate f4. The idea of f4 is it's maybe kind of controlling this square nicely, and Larsen's trying to develop in any way he can, but this does weaken the king side. I mean, maybe he's even thinking of playing aggressively on the king side and castling queen side move. And f4 isn't terrible, but it's not. It does severely weaken the king side, and maybe now castling king side isn't the best option. Something like a3 or just developing the knight would be better. And immediately, Spassky was knight to g4, which is the engine's favorite move. See, this knight is now very aggressive and can't. I think you lose immediately if you castle, if I'm right. Yeah, do this tactic rook takes d2. And so you play queen takes d2. I was saying knight takes d2. Knight takes d2. You now get knight takes e3 with check. No, sorry, knight takes e3 with the tempo on the queen and attacking the rook. You're saying queen to c1. Queen c1 is, and knight takes f1 with check. You have to play king takes f1. It's saying and king takes f1 isn't even the best move. It's much better to go king to h1. Maybe wait. Let's see what happens if king takes f1. Oh yeah, queen h4 is deadly. It's completely crushing here. So you're threatening this pawn. You're threatening checkmate, and there's no real way to actually stop. Saying bishop g3 is a forced move, and seems that maybe even bishop. Queen takes h2. Yeah, the queen is very nice. This bishop's threatening to check here. This bishop's completely cut. King to e1, saying it's like queen g1. Well, e3. E3 is the best move. Yeah, this is terrible. It's saying bishop to d4 because queen b1 it leads to mate. Oh yeah, it all leads to mate. Bishop to d4 it's saying is forced. I think bishop to d4 and now rook to d8. Yeah, this is really bad. This pawn is getting ready to be pushed, and saying bishop takes c5. I like queen takes g3 with check. Yeah, I'm saying force mate. It realizes that it is. King to d1, and well, this is just seems rather bad. We've already done rook d8. Oh, this is rook e8. Rook d8. Oh god. Well, I mean, this is bishop takes e3. Saying is, but even at the best defense, it's mate in 10. Queen takes e3 is force mate 9, and look at this beautiful mating net here. Bishop to f1 is the best. It makes white last the longest. And queen to g1. It's a mate in 2. King e2, and then bishop d3 is checkmate. Saying. So what a wait, what? Oh, it is checkmate. Yeah. So what a beautiful mating puzzle. All is something like. That's why you can't castle here. So castling, as I said, wasn't played, and that's maybe another reason why this f4 idea wasn't the greatest. Something like h3 was a lot better here, but it's not a blunder. It's just for an engine they can play this perfectly fine, but for a human, even a grandmaster level like an amazing player like Bent Larsen, he'll definitely show a game where he wins. His Immortal will show. It's just too hard to play this, especially against somebody like Boris g4. And here we have g3. G3 maybe just to guard this pawn. It's very uncomfortable here by Spassky. It's very uncomfortable. Spassky's knight is very aggressively placed. There's not really the queen side is not too good because he pushed the c pawn. The king side because he pushed the e pawn, and now he's pushed the g pawn. So here we have h5 by Spassky, which is the best move in the position. And Spassky really goes all out here. We have h3 by Larsen, trying to kick the knight away, but Spassky, something like knight takes e3 is completely winning here. After d takes e3. You have bishop takes e3, and this is much better for black, but saying queen to c3. Wow. Oh, you can't play this because saying bishop to d4. Yeah, that's pretty bad here. Queen c1. And now bishop to b6. Wait, where's b6? No, that's bishop to g6. Bishop to b6. Bishop back here. Yeah, and I'm saying this is better for black. Nonetheless, is much. Maybe not much better, but it's definitely better for black. But Spassky decides not to go for this. Alright, maybe even if the engine is right, that this knight capture is a lot better. Spassky goes the brilliant. The only move that makes it a brilliancy, h4. Now this is just, yeah, look, the engine likes it more than actually knight captures. It's recommending knight captures. Yeah, look, it's recommending knight captures. But now look, it's saying +1, and that h4 is played. The engine's loving it. Look, it realizes h4 is completely winning here. Here Larsen says, I'm very confused and I don't know what to do. The best idea here is probably like saying bishop takes. At least forcing the trade of bishops, but this is still very bad for white. I mean, it's the best you could do. Well, Larsen goes h takes g4, and then this is just over. We have h takes g3. And they're complicated lines for everything. Rook takes h8. Rook takes h8. Rook takes h8. And, well, I mean, there's a problem. This queen is g4. Sorry, there's an open diagonal as rook's coming. And there's not a lot of doing. Saying bishop to f1 is the best move. Saying rook to h1. Look at this. This is very uncomfortable. After knight c3. If bishop takes g4, The king has no squares. Saying d4 is the best move in the position. But after e takes x d3, en passant. You don't know what en passant is, that's en passant. You have queen takes d3. And g2. The bishop can't take it, it's pinned. And saying king d2 is the best move here. No, you just take. Oh, you play g1 equals queen. g1 equals queen, and look, you're already up a queen. So this isn't very good for our poor friend. And this is with best continuation. In the game, rook to g1 was played by Larsen because, well, he doesn't want to trade. He wants this g pawns are, and here Spassky plays. Saying queen h4 is the best move, but I think Spassky plays, the brilliant rook to h1. Now, here Larsen plays rook takes h1, and Spassky shows why this whole rook sacrifice works. The only move that gives black the advantage. Every other move is losing, of course, g2 immediately. Now, if rook to g1, I even know this, queen h4, and you're losing this game. I think it's it's saying this is crushing. Probably it's saying queen to c1 is the best continuation, not allowing because it's threatening checkmate. You can't go rook captures, right? So rook captures and you just take and that's checkmate. Check. Oh, sorry, it's forced checkmate. Look, checkmate. I really think so. So you're forced to actually play something like queen c1, and then while you're just playing queen take g1 check and king moves, and this would even be okay trading after maybe something like bishop takes. Look, another queen. Okay, so let's go all the way back here. So after here, Larsen feels the need to play rook to f1. Saying rook to g1 is the best move, but Larsen plays rook to f1. The idea of rook to, and it's a forced mate in 5. That's the problem. Now, Larsen is willing to sack the rook. He's saying, I will let you take this. Just take it and relieve. But Larsen misses, as we said, a forced mate in 5. Now, here it is, of course, queen to h5. It's all been about this. A lot of these lines have been about this queen to h5 because this g pawn's been pushed. This f pawn has been pushed. This king isn't castled. It's not safe. Of course, you can't go first rook to f2 blocking. I mean, of course, g1 equals queen. Can't move the rook. It's pinned after the bishop f1. Well, this is quick and painful death for black. Sorry, for white. And then that's already checkmate. So you can clearly not block with the rook. You are forced to go king to d1, which is the only is one of two moves, but it's the only move that does not get it survives for a bit longer. So g takes f1 equals, I don't know, queen, let's just say. Oh, it's saying if you do rook rook or queen. I think and then this should just be bad. Like the bishop captures g4 is coming. And now you want to go bishop captures. If you actually go queen captures, it's easier. You have to it's easier for him to escape because now the queen isn't covering this diagonal. But after bishop captures, if you notice, the queen and bishop are slicing all the way. The idea is now after king here, well, this is forced. Now it's checkmate. So that's just one variation. If you were to, that's how the game goes down. Yeah, that's how. I wasn't even paying attention. That's how the game actually finishes. Yeah. So a brilliant attack, but let's go back after king to d1. Well, I mean, of course, you want to play g takes f1 equals queen. But what if we were playing immediately bishop captures? What would the engine think of bishop captures immediately? Ooh, it doesn't like it. It's saying that the rook to g1, black's definitely winning this, but white does have a chance. So, of course, we have this brilliant finish. This is just amazing. The sacrifice of the knight going all the way back here. So next time, when somebody tries to kick your knight in a position like this, and their king isn't safe, they've weakened both sides. There's no way to really castle queenside. He hasn't developed very well. Maybe don't pay attention to that threat and look for a more dangerous threat, which was definitely checkmate. So thank you. It's like Boris Spassky is telling Bent Larsen how to attack well. And I think in Bent Larsen's Immortal he does attack well, but he's like, well, maybe you want to look at this, sir. Just because you play h3 doesn't mean I have to move the knight. I can play h4. So thank you guys for watching and tuning in and looking at experiencing this brilliancy by Boris Spassky. See you guys next time.